The listening section has 3 parts. Part 1. 4 short conversations, each followed by 1 question. Part 2. 1 longer conversation, followed by 4 questions. Part 3. 1 lecture, followed by 6 questions. You will hear each conversation or lecture only 1 time. You must answer each question before continuing. To continue to the next question, click the Next button. In this section, you cannot use the Back button to return to an earlier question. The number of questions and the amount of time you have to answer the questions will be shown separately for each section in the Question Time Left window on your screen. Time is not counted while you are listening to the conversation or lecture.
Question 1.
Gee, you have a lot of change in that jar. Are you a coin collector?
No, I'm just saving them for a rainy day.
What does the woman mean?
Question 2.
I saw you in the lecture hall yesterday, on your way out of Professor Warner's philosophy class. I was kind of surprised. I didn't imagine you as someone interested in philosophy.
I don't know what's so surprising. There's lots of engineering students in that class. What can be inferred about the man?
Question 3.
My new neighbor next door is really great. She's got this fantastic collection of classical music. I mean, dozens of composers I've never even heard of.
Just be careful, Annie. A hobby like that can be contagious and expensive. What does the man imply?
Question 4.
The bus they're renting to take us to the museum, it's going to leave at 10 in front of the library. So let's meet on the library steps beforehand, okay?
Oh, I thought I told you. I have a dentist appointment this morning, so I'm just going to meet up with you guys downtown at the museum, okay?
What does the woman imply?
Listen to a conversation between 2 students over lunch. Hi, Hillary. Can I join you?
Oh, hi, Bill. Sure. Sit down. What's for lunch? Oh, you're having the beef curry, eh? I'd better warn the rest of the class.
I can't come today. I've got to skip it.
Why?
Oh, I've got to finish this motivation letter here.
Which one's that?
It's my letter for USC grad school. I've got to get it in the mail this afternoon. I've been putting it off, but now I've really got to get it done, or I'll miss the submission deadline. So I'm going to have to miss 360 class, that's all.
Too bad. Why'd you write it before anyway? You're one of the most organized guys I know.
Oh, I don't know. I never do know what to say in these things exactly, and this one's really got me stumped. I really want to get into their graduate international affairs program. So this one's got to be just right, you know?
So, what's wrong with it? Can I see what you've got so far?
Huh? Oh, sure. Here you go. It's just that, I can't find that, balance between eagerness and effusiveness. I mean, how to show them I'm sincere. I want to tell them that I really want to get into that program and that I think I've got the background to do well in it. But I can't sound like some, well, wet behind the ears, stars in my eyes wannabe either.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's hard, isn't it? It's a fine line to walk. Let me see. This is nice. The political turmoil that has brought in the 21st century. Catchy. Oh, but this. I really feel my qualifications. Nah, that's no good, Bill. That sounds really canned, and you shouldn't have to say you feel. That feeling should come out in the context. And really certainly doesn't belong anywhere near a formal letter.
Oh,
Just cut that clause out and get right into it. My qualifications match the prerequisites you indicate and... But then you don't mention them at all.
mention what? The prerequisites?
Neither one. You haven't given any details either about your qualifications or about the prerequisites that USC wants.
Well, they know their own prerequisites, don't they?
Yes, of course, but a smart applicant would remind them.
And my CV is going to be attached to this, and it lists all my education and experience in gory detail.
Yeah, but even so, you ought to give them maybe some examples at least, some key examples here in the letter. If you say they match, then you should match them up right here. You know, like, what? You've taken a heck of a lot of languages, haven't you? What are you taking this year?
Second year German and first year Japanese.
Well, put those in here. Be specific. My language credits in French, German, and Japanese, in addition to the fact that I am bilingual in Spanish and English, abundantly satisfy your language prerequisite. You've got to impress them with the truth, Bill, really. And nothing sounds more truthful than specific details. Details that can be checked and verified. And then help them. Help them think it out. My language experience has already provided me a good grounding and many cross-cultural basics. Something like that.
But isn't all that going to make this thing way too long? I've always read you're not supposed to go over a single page with a cover letter.
But this isn't a cover letter. Well, yes, it's kind of a cover letter, but it's more than that. It's supposed to show what makes you tick, who you are and what you want out of life, what you want out of that USC program.
So
don't worry about length, as long as you're not just creating padding, not creating filler, as long as you're giving them good, solid, useful information about your abilities and goals, they'll keep reading, and they'll get a good, clear picture of who you are as a candidate.
So what do you think then? 2 pages?
Sure, that'll be fine, as long as you have something relevant to say.
But I'm running out of time on this.
Look, isn't this important? You can do this.
Well, okay then. Whatever you say. Would you have a chance to take one more look at this thing before I send it off?
Yeah, I guess so. When? I thought you were in a rush to get this off.
Yeah, I am. But I think I can get this revised and ready by the end of our 360 lecture.
The one you're skipping?
Yes, so I could bring it over to you at the end of class.
Or, where are you going to work on it? Here?
Yep, I'm going to be sitting right here till it's done.
Well then, why don't I just come back here after class and find you?
That'd be great, Hillary. I'd really appreciate it.
No problem. Anything to get you out of here and into another university.
Ah, come on. Anyway, thanks, really.
See you in a couple of hours then.
Okay, great.
Question 1. Question 2. Question 3. Question 4.
Listen to part of a lecture from a history class. Benjamin Franklin was a renowned statesman, a successful proprietor, an avid philosopher, and a prolific inventor. As we learned from our reading this week, his inventions include bifocals, the Franklin stove, the odometer, and of course the lightning rod. Today, though, I want to argue the case that Franklin's greatest legacy was not in any of those roles or as a founding father of the United States, but as a writer. Do any of you know a book that Franklin has written? Anyone? Well, that's because Franklin didn't write any great novels, a la later U.S. greats like Hemingway, F. Scott Fitzgerald, and Mark Twain. But I think an analysis of Franklin's writing style, his instincts, his sensibilities, and his accomplishments reveals that he deserves to be mentioned in the same breath as those literary giants. Like Hemingway, Franklin began as a newspaper reporter, then moved on to publish essays, journals, and books. His most famous books are Autobiography, The Way to Wealth, and Poor Richard's Almanac, an annual publication that he founded and authored from 1732 to 1748. Franklin's first literary contributions were essays, printed in 1722 in the New England Courant, a newspaper published by his brother James. Ben's writing style at this time was modeled principally upon that of the Spectator, a British paper edited by Joseph Addison and Richard Steele. Early on, though, Franklin displayed an innate ability to write concise, clear news stories. In 1729, he became publisher and editor of the Pennsylvania Gazette, which he developed into a newspaper universally acclaimed as the best in American colonies. Franklin made three great contributions to American literature. First was his preference to share his opinion about popular topics, instead of simply reporting on current events, much in the vein of a modern newspaper columnist. Through his writings, Franklin helped shape America's national identity by shifting Americans' consciousness from a spiritual puritanism to secular rationalism, which was characteristic of 18th century Enlightenment. He thus created a dawning awareness that America was a country with distinctly different values and interests than those of England. Poor Richard's Almanac and his autobiography, for example, are written in the style of self-help guides. They're packed with Enlightenment maxims such as an investment in knowledge pays the best interest, time is money, and hear reason or shall make you feel her. Franklin imbued his journalism with a similar tone. In an article entitled Death of a Drunk, for instance, he used a true story to pass on a moral lesson about the dangers of drinking. Author Robert Arner said that Franklin's writings demonstrate a deep and abiding belief in the power of the press to educate the public on topical issues. Franklin's second contribution was his sense for unusual and interesting news stories, which set a tone that has carried over to modern newspapers. The Pennsylvania Gazette specialized in brief, offbeat articles, such as a husband who tried to decapitate his wife's adulterer, and a fiddler who saved his fiddle, but not his wife, from a capsized canoe. Although some criticize this as sensationalistic or yellow journalism, Franklin's venerable wisdom and natural wit permeated the short reports and attracted a huge and loyal audience. In this sense, we might call Franklin the father of tabloid journalism. So you can thank Ben next time you're in a supermarket checkout line and see the headline, "Michael Jackson Spotted on UFO." Franklin's third significant contribution to U.S. literature is his writing style, which reflects the philosophy he expressed in a 1732 essay. Good writing, he said, should be, quote, smooth, clear, and short. Compared with other 18th century authors, Franklin's writing is much more concise and readable. That comparison holds not only among his contemporaries, however, but also among writers in the following 3 centuries. Franklin played a leading role in developing journalism as a terse writing form, getting quickly to the point and dwelling on important issues instead of secondary facts. Moreover, Franklin was a word economist, finding the shortest way to express a thought, as demonstrated by his vast coinages of aphorisms. The chief reason Franklin's sayings remain popular today is due not to their moral wisdom, but to their brevity. Advice such as, "Well done is better than well said," "When in doubt, don't," dispense moral certitudes in sentences that are catchy and easy to remember, a timeless writing tip. How many of you have heard your English teacher mention KISS, K-I-S-S? What does that mean?
Keep it short and simple.
Yep, keep it short and simple. That was a formula Ben Franklin was practicing long before someone coined a name for it. Given all this, it's no wonder that Scottish philosopher David Hume called Franklin America's first great man of letters.
Question 1. Question 2. Question 3. Question 4. Question 5. Question 6.